nightmares of COD. This episode, the Famas. It's tough. Hello, I'm Raging Amish, and welcome back to the Nightmares of COD. Today, we're going to live through a cesspool of misery. Of course, I'm talking about the Famas. Mother of pearl! Fire on the poop deck! You know, you'd be surprised how common that reaction is. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I did a review of the Famas once upon a time, and my verdict was somewhat optimistic. Well, I realize something now that I should have realized a long time ago. I was wrong. Absolutely 100% wrong. The Famas truly is a nightmare, even after the developers patched it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. It's difficult to explain everything right here and now that's wrong with the Famas, so you're going to have to trust me. We'll get into the details shortly. I don't want to rehash everything I said in the gun review once upon a time. I do, however, want to make a certain point very clear. I was wrong to ever say the Famas was okay. For everyone who has ever been frustrated by this assault rifle, for anybody who scratched his or her head wondering how the hell this got through development, I say it's time. I've been holding back my frustration for going on 2 years. It's time to vent and get some payback.
What is this?
Payback.
Playing Black Ops today, it's hard for my blood not to boil. I think everyone can agree that the gun diversity in Black Ops is the worst we've seen in a Call of Duty title to date, and that's a huge problem. Gun diversity in class building is one of the strongest and most unique parts about Call of Duty. It's a shooter with role-playing. You have to design your class right to have success. Unfortunately, Black Ops features a weapon which kills both class and weapon diversity. Of course, we're talking about the Famas. On paper, this rifle is a rare microcosm of bad ideas being piled on top of each other. It ruins gun diversity by being too strong. Many players don't even consider using a weapon besides the Famas. On top of that, the Famas also lends itself to being used with certain perks and abilities. In a way, this rifle manages to somewhat kill both class diversity in addition to gun diversity.
I love messing things up.
So here's the question. What went wrong? How did Treyarch manage to create one of the most monstrous nightmares in Call of Duty? To me, it comes down to fundamentals. In a game with role-playing elements, you have to follow certain rules to get proper balance and diversity. What do I mean by that, you may wonder? I'm going to sound like Ross Perot here, but let's take a look at the chart. With rare exception, a weapon's fire rate is indirectly related to the power of each individual shot. Weapons with a low fire rate tend to have high bullet power per shot. On the opposite end, you have weapons with a high fire rate, but low bullet power. In the middle, you'll find weapons with varying mixes of fire rate and bullet power. One thing remains consistent, however. As your fire rate increases, your bullet power should drop. By default, this assault rifle has the highest fire rate available in Black Ops at 938 RPM. Logic says the bullet power must be weak to balance the gun, correct? Of course, the answer is no. The Famas is one of only a handful of weapons that completely ignores this rule. The gun completely defies logic and can pull off a 3-hit kill. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That doesn't sound so bad. In theory, this can be okay. What you have to consider is the context of the game. In Black Ops, the average fire rate for a weapon is 750 RPM. The average kill power up close is a 3-hit kill. That's the crux of why the Famas is a problem. This gun combines a high fire rate with decent power. Logic says if the fire rate is going to be high, the power should be low. That doesn't happen on this rifle. To make matters worse, you get assault rifle performance and the recoil is very predictable. This opens up a completely different can of worms. We've already established that the Famas does a lot of damage, but on top of that now, the Famas is lethal in all ranges of combat. Up close, you have decent mobility and can spam shots from the hip. At medium range, you will dominate, and at a distance, you can burst fire for easy kills. No other weapon in Black Ops can do this, am I right?
No, there is another.
Well, okay, maybe I'm stretching the truth a bit. In all honesty, the Famas isn't the only assault rifle to break balance convention. The AUG is another rifle in Black Ops that's almost identical to the Famas. For the record, I fully recognize the AUG breaks rules just like the Famas, but for some reason, the AUG has never been as popular or nearly as hated. I'm not sure how this can be true, but it is. Treyarch released a chart showing the Famas is the #1 used gun in Black Ops, but the AUG doesn't even clock in at number 3. How can that be possible when the guns are so similar? I have no idea. Anyway, back to the Famas. In a nutshell, this gun combines assault rifle performance and power with an SMG's fire rate. On paper and in practice, this is a nightmare. What's frustrating though is Treyarch did recognize this problem after 6 months. The developers decided to patch the Famas. When they finally came around to doing this, they did 3 things. The raise time is longer than at release, the hipfire crosshairs are now bigger, and the ADS speed has been increased. At first, I was suckered in and thought the patch successfully fixed the Famas. I realize now I was woefully wrong.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
I will admit this is one of the most notable gun patches we've ever seen, but in truth, it did almost nothing to fix the Famas. The raise time is longer. Whoop-de-fucking do. Who cares about that? Your ADS speed is longer. Guess what? Sleight of Hand Pro effectively nullifies that. Your crosshairs are bigger. Who cares? A player who's using Sleight of Hand Pro isn't going to shoot from the hip. If anything, the patch made things worse. Players now use Sleight of Hand and only Sleight of Hand with the Famas, further hurting class diversity in Black Ops. Overall, I realize I flip-flopped on this issue with time, so here's my end verdict. The Famas was, and still is, a problem. I honestly can't say I'm surprised. This is the same studio that gave us the MP40. As the saying goes, history does tend to repeat itself. What irks me the most though is you can tell the developers think the Famas is okay. If they really thought it was a problem, the patch would have come much quicker, and it would have also been more significant. Of course, that's not what happened. In the end, it's a really scary thought, isn't it?
That's what I thought you said. Now let me offer this as a rebuttal.
If the decision were mine to make, I say the bullet power should have been adjusted to 30 up close. This gives the Famas a 4-hit kill at all ranges. The weapon would be comparable to the current FAD in Modern Warfare 3. You get a high fire rate, but your weak bullet power up close balances everything out. Because Treyarch has a poor history with gun diversity, that brings me to my next point. I'm nervous for Black Ops 2. This is the studio which has delivered the Famas, the AUG, the MP40, and let's not forget another old nemesis of mine, the AK-74U with rapid fire. I'm almost certain they'll screw up gun diversity again. Before I forget, some of you have been asking, will I be doing a Nightmare of COD for the AK-74U at some point? I think the answer should be obvious.
Of course!
I'm hoping for the best in Black Ops 2. I want the third time to be the charm, and I want Treyarch to succeed. But I have plenty of reasons to believe they'll screw something up. Hopefully, that's not what happens. That concludes the Famas Nightmare from Call of Duty Black Ops. I hope you enjoyed and that you'll join me next time, where we'll be taking a look at the death streaks. Until then, this is Raging Amish, checking out.